Hello, it's Keith Walden, the owner of Departure Lounge, with today's Departure Lounge VIP Travel Report. We have a great interview with Dolf, the CEO of Lindblad Expeditions. He's going to tell us all about Lindblad and share a little bit about his background. Enjoy the talk. Thanks for joining us today. I'd love for the Departure Lounge clients and my team of advisors to hear about, first of all, tell us about Lindblad and your portfolio of companies that are top of the expedition space.
Well, thank you, Keith. It's fantastic to be with you here today. And I'm approaching my 10th month at Lindblad Expeditions as the CEO. And it's just a fantastic company that I'm so proud to be part of. We are the pioneer in expedition travel. Our founder, Sven Olaf Lindblad, was the son of a man named Lars Erik Lindblad, who was the first person to take tourists to Antarctica and also the Galapagos and several other parts of the world. So we have a deep heritage in it. And today, we're actually a publicly traded company after many years of work by Sven and the team, but it's comprised of a number of companies, the primary one of which is Lindblad Expeditions, which has 10 ships that travel to all the continents and over 40 destinations in an expedition travel mode. And then we also have a number of land companies, primarily natural habitat, but then also more recently, classic journeys and Duvine cycling, off the beaten path, all of which are companies that cater to adventure travelers. And so it's really a group of companies that have like-minded guests who want to see the world and be spiritually transformed by being in contact with nature and great cultures across the world.
Well, we love all your companies, Lindblad, Natural Habitat, and Duvine in particular are ones that my team of advisors work with frequently with our clients. So thank you for that. I would love for you to talk a little bit about your background, starting with your education in Zimbabwe. And you have quite an impressive resume of roles with entertainment, experience, and hospitality companies. So if you wouldn't mind giving us a little background on your pathway, that would be awesome.
Well, that's kind of you to be interested in that. I grew up in Western Massachusetts. I happen to know Norman Rockwell there. My dad was actually the head of National Audubon when I was growing up. So there's a great link to the environmental work. And my mom was a school teacher. But I went to college thinking I would be a minister or a teacher. I went to Harvard College, and then I went to Southern Africa and taught in a multiracial school in South Africa, and then received a degree in a master's in African history from the University of Zimbabwe, with the idea that I would do more work in that region. And then as the world turned, I came back and was part of the environmental, professional world at a company called Waste Management. And then after that, really spent most of my adult life in what I would call the joy business. And the joy business is a combination of House of Blues entertainment with concerts, and then after that, Lucky Strike with bowling, and then more recently, I was the president for Dave & Buster's, which you may have heard of, and then the CEO for Topgolf Entertainment Group. But the reason that I'm here at Lindblad is that it ties to two just really central themes in my life, one of which is trying to create the most joyful, remarkable guest experiences that you possibly can. And then the other is because of the deep roots that this company has as it relates to environmental sustainability. So those themes were the big ones. Other sort of things that are sort of meaningful in my life was that my family, we're part of the autism community. My son is largely recovered, but that's been a big journey, and that led me to any number of other things, competing in track and field, and then I was an American Ninja Warrior, although not a very good one, all of which was part of striving for joyful things and trying to keep myself strong in the fight, quite frankly, against autism.
I think, when I look at your background versus the typical CEO in the cruise space, it's a huge difference. It's very exciting to me for someone with your background, really focused on the joy experiences,
Oh.
to come into a company like Lindblad, which already is so extraordinary with really amazing experiences with nature, and then have your put your hand on it and your mark on it based on all those other, because those were incredible brands that were literally giving millions of people joy. And so it's so exciting to see what you will do and what you've already done in this role with Lindblad. So I really enjoyed learning about your background, and I learned a couple of new things there too. So that's awesome. All right, let's get down to talking about what's going on in travel right now. We're talking today, it's February the 1st of 2022. So what are you seeing in travel booking patterns with Lindblad right now? Anything that you're noticing as far as are more last minute bookings or far out or a combination? What are you seeing right now?
Well, I think the experience we're having is quite similar to many others in our space, and we have seen quite a bit of pent up demand over the course of recent months, and quite a lot of zeal for bookings in later 2022 and also into 2023. There's no question that the surge that started in the middle of last year was affected by the Delta COVID variant and then again by Omicron, but we seem to be working our way out of it. And I think the overwhelming view in just these last couple of weeks is optimism that guests are having related to travel, which is, I think, a function of a better understanding of the Omicron impact, and then also the promise of some of what the medical community is providing, specifically related to the Pfizer drug over time, and of course the vaccine programs. So I would say we're not out of the woods, so to speak, and it's difficult still on a day-to-day basis, and a lot of guests are feeling the things that go along with this moment, such as last-minute concerns about certain destinations and so on. But there is, I think, a change versus where we were a few months ago, where there was more uncertainty and there was a lot more distress, I think, in people's minds. And so I'm thinking we're on the optimistic side of things, but I tend to be optimistic anyway. You probably have to ask people, all around the industry what they're thinking to get the full answer.
Well, I can tell you, I can bolster your optimism, because our booking requests over the last 2 weeks have just skyrocketed. We have a storefront here in Austin, another storefront in San Antonio, and our Austin storefront last week had the most new travel requests in a week since 2019, easily. So it's not just your optimism, it's actually a push. I think, the Omicron variant seems to be running through people so quickly. And I also had COVID in late December. And your mindset after you've recovered is that, especially if you've got your booster shot, is that you're ready to go attack the world. It definitely gives you a lot more confidence. And so many of our clients have had it recovered in the last 6 months. So I think people's confidence and comfort in getting out there and traveling also goes with that pent up demand. So we're seeing a huge push. All right,
I'm delighted to hear that. If I could just add that I do think that the measures that we're taking to keep people safe will be in place for quite a while. So in our case, that's 100% vaccines and a series of tests leading up to the voyage and during the voyage, and then very specific protocols related to masks, and then also quarantine if necessary. So we'll live with that for a while, but I think those are measures that have been very effective and will continue to be effective in the increasingly unlikely event that people come down with the disease.
Well, and you've got the benefit of having smaller vessels.
Yes.
So I would imagine that helps control situation when you're dealing with fewer rooms and fewer passengers. Thank you I know you guys have always been super sensitive with the environment and not leaving a negative impact on the animal life or the environment. So these COVID protocols are probably just a natural additional step for your team. I'm glad that it's working out. Let's cross our fingers that those protocols continue to keep everybody happy and healthy and on their journeys. Let's end this talk with a quick look at, there's been a lot of change in the expedition space. There's new product, there's new ships, different versions of expedition experiences. So I'd love to hear your insight on kind of where you see things going, or is there more change coming, and how will this impact travel in general going forward?
Well, I think that we are very fortunate at Lindblad to be in one of the most explosive and most exciting parts of the travel segment. And this is really for several reasons. One is that I think the general public's interest in the natural world and in remote places and in all the themes related to environmental sustainability is growing all the time. And I need look no farther than my own children who teach me things every day. And I've been in this world for some time. And so we have that going for us. And I think almost certainly what will happen is that there will be increasing segmentation within the expedition space as different companies focus on different things, recognize guest needs of different sorts. Clearly, there's a spectrum in terms of people's level of adventurism, if you will. And then some guests put a higher premium on luxury and of course the food. And so we try to be best in class on quite a number of those things. But I think that there's a lot of growth coming. And what's really important is that it's done very safely and very professionally, and that the guests have the time of their lives, because the experience that we have is that, similar to remarkable works of art or really amazing pieces of music or what have you, being in some of these remote places, whether it's the Arctic, the Antarctic, the Galapagos, Alaska has a lot to offer, and so many other places, really can change people's perspective on their life, the planet, and how we all need to treat each other. And that, of course, is the bigger mission that we all have in doing this kind of work.
What are your most popular destinations for travel this year and next? Which of your itineraries are turning out to be the most popular right now?
Sure. Well, I think that it's the bucket list itineraries that always draw people's attention. So specifically, that would be Antarctica and the Galapagos. And you might be surprised to hear that Alaska is just having a heyday. And I think part of that because it's domestic and there's less challenge related to the domestic air travel. But I think also just the appreciation for the physical characteristics of Alaska at different times of year, and also very encouragingly, the interest in the indigenous cultures and the First Nations of up there is just a beautiful and very important kind of body of knowledge that we would all benefit if we understood better.
I think your Iceland itineraries in the coming years are always super popular as well. And that is a destination that's on many people's bucket list, but there's just not a lot of hotel options that are great, and they get sold out at super high prices well in advance. So we encourage our clients to take a look at your Iceland itinerary as well.
Well, thank you for that, Keith. And of course, if you're on one of our ships, the hotel problem is actually solved. And we get excited about Iceland as a jumping off point for Greenland, because on one of our ships, you can really do quite a bunch of exploration up and down the coast of Greenland, which is its own very interesting environment. And maybe the important thing to say is the nature of expeditions is that they have known beginning and end points, but we try to be quite flexible, and we provide a great deal of training and also then autonomy to our ship captains and our expedition leaders, because it's very common, and actually one of our core values and one of the core parts of our experience, for an expedition to pivot mid-voyage because, oh my gosh, there's an incredible group of fin whales, if we head over there, or oh my gosh, there's a volcano that's erupting, so we need to make sure we do that. Or in the case of Antarctica, the ice and the winds are cooperating in such a way that we can do something unique. As an example, we landed a group of guests on Peter One Island, which is a remote island down in the Antarctic region, and fewer than 1,000 people have ever been there before. And the last time one of our people was there was in 1984. And so that was something that was really historic because we have the right conditions and we made the decision to go there. And also these brand new ships, the Resolution and the Endurance, have capability unlike anything else on the planet from an ice-breaking standpoint, as well as other features, and very comfortable as well. And so that's what gets us excited, is the nature of expeditions, the small ship experience, and really just the wonder and the awe and the discovery and that kind of goes with this whole world. So I just hope everyone in their life gets a chance to do something like this, because there's something very fundamental to human beings' DNA around exploration and discovery, and we're very much part of that.
I love that we are oftentimes able to take a client that says, I'm not a cruise client, they're not into cruises, but talk them into an expedition experience with you, and then they're hooked. Because it's not a traditional cruise. It's not a traditional ocean cruise like you would, the iconic. This is really about, exploring some of the most incredible natural places on the planet with like-minded people. So they wind up relating to the other guests on board and then having the best time because it's their sweet spot of nature. So we've turned a lot of non-cruisers into expedition cruisers. And I think that trend will continue.
That's right. And I think, we of course have this very long relationship with National Geographic, which is exclusive to Lindblad. And we have therefore naturalists and photographers and experts who really enrich the experience for people who've never been there before. And that's really meaningful and fun for people to experience.
Well, your technology and your gadgets are pretty impressive too. If you want to see what's happening under the water or hear what's happening under the water, you guys always deliver that as an option too. So it really is truly an immersive experience, whether you get into the water or not. You're getting to see what's going on below the surface. So yeah, and I think it also lends itself great for multi-generation trips. We, particularly in the summertime, get to put some multi-generation family trips together with you guys, and I appreciate how you take care of them.
Well, thank you for that, Keith. It sounds like you've had an expedition experience or two in your life, and you're right. I mean, it could be hiking, it could be snorkeling, it could be kayaking. We have these wonderful things called zodiacs, which transport you around a body of water near the ship and get you to shore. All part of the experience, and something that is really something for everyone, whether you're a child or whether you're older. We love 3 or 4 generation families who create special bonds with each other and have stories to tell that they'll never forget. So it's all of those things together that make for a great expedition.
Absolutely. Well, Dolf, thank you for your time today. We appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to give us a little insight on yourself and what's going on with Lindblad. And we'll look forward to continue to send you some happy travelers.
Thank you, Keith. I love what you're doing with this program, and it's an honor to have been with you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.